La rosa enflorece en el mes de mayo. Mi alma se oscurece sufriendo del amor. Mi alma se oscurece sufriendo del amor.
Welcome, Noam Vazana. Welcome to our Summer in the White Stork Synagogue, or summer concerts in the White Stork Synagogue here in Wrocław. It is the virtual concert, but for you, it is you have been here physically before, so we have enjoyed your art here in Wrocław before. It's a big honor.
I had a great time.
Yes, and I tell you, it's an honor for us because you have so many colors in your art. You are a singer, songwriter, and then you play the trombone and you play the piano. And it's not so often that artists are so versatile. And so it's very interesting. And also living in Amsterdam, but you are originally from Israel. I wonder, your name is Noam, which is usually a male name, but then you added to Nani. You have added to your name.
Yes.
So Nani is a song, for those who don't know, a lullaby in Ladino. And but Noam, how come Noam? Noam is also for a girl, I understand.
Well, like my generation was probably the first generation that Noam became a girl's name as well. So before it was exclusively male, and I think I'm the oldest Noam I know, like in my age, that has the name as a female. But the word is actually doesn't really have a gender, so it can be both, and it means pleasant.
Pleasant,
Yeah.
yes, comes from pleasant. Yeah. Vazana, your second name, it's kind of a Sephardic name, huh?
Yes,
Vazana.
It's a Moroccan name from the city Wazan, and Wazan in Arabic Moroccan means balance. So actually, my name is quite funny, pleasant balance.
Yeah, that's nice because my husband is named Gleichgewicht, and that also means balance. You know,
There
it's
you go.
a
That's in
Polish Jewish
German, huh?
family. No, Polish Jewish family. So balance, usually probably with a silver, or when you have to weigh the things, or so Vazano means also balance.
Yes.
That's nice. Very nice. So your tradition comes from Morocco, and then you were born, of course, in Israel as a second generation,
Yes.
or
Yeah, my parents immigrated from Morocco in the 50s.
Yes, like the big wave to Israel from
Yes.
Morocco. But you've always sang, or how did you always wanted to work with music?
As far as I remember myself, yes. My mom even tells me that when I was 3 years old, I used to imitate opera singers in the shower and say that I'm going to be a singer when I grow up. And for my fourth or fifth birthday, I asked for a microphone as a gift. So yeah, I guess I always knew.
Yes, and then
Yeah.
did you join also this army orchestra they have in Israel?
Yeah, I served in the Air Force band. It was a jazz band. I was playing trombone it was a kind of a combo thing. And then our unit got disassembled after a year and a half. I was in the army, so they felt that there was no need for an Air Force band anymore. And then I auditioned for the IDF orchestra, and I got accepted. So the rest of my service was in the IDF orchestra.
And your teachers, were they Russians or they hadn't come yet? You probably got very good teachers, music teachers.
I had
From
amazing
immigration,
teachers from all over the
yes,
world.
from all
My
over the
first
world.
teachers were Russian in Beersheba at the youth conservatory were Russian, all of them. But
Yeah.
as I grew up, I went to study abroad. Sorry?
Uh-huh. No, I just want to tell our listeners that because it was the time of the big Russian immigration in the 80s. So
Yeah.
that's why I asked you about the Russian immigrants, because they said to them, if you you walk down the plane without an instrument under your arm, what are you then playing? Then you are playing the piano, because all the Russians were played an instrument. So
It was mandatory.
anyway,
I,
yes,
I
yes,
know
yes,
from Russian friends that they told me that the school uh, program consisted of 5-year mandatory solfege and instrument lessons. You had to sing and
exactly.
you had to play. Yeah,
And I
which is
think
great. I think
Israel
they should do it
benefited.
today too.
I think Israel benefited from this immigration in this sense that
Sure,
this generation got the best teacher you could ever imagine. I
true.
mean, teaching music. So because it's also not so often that you have a girl playing the trombone, I must admit.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, there was this presentation of an orchestra in our school. I was 9 years old, and they brought uh, an orchestra to the school and they explained about the instruments. So it was like they played a piece. I think it was Saint-Saëns, the Carnival of Animals, and then they singled out each and every instrument and explained what it was and what was its part in the orchestra. And I don't know, I got turned on by the trombone. I like the low sound, and I remember as a kid my voice was very high. I was a real soprano before, like now I'm a mezzo, but I always had this really high pitched voice as a kid, and I was really longing to sing low. And when I heard the trombone, I felt like this is like the continuation of my voice, and I wanted to have that extra range. And I came home and I said to my parents, "Hey, I want to have that instrument." And they were like, "We don't know what that is." And when I explained what it was, they were like, "Yeah, no way. This sounds like the dishwasher hose. We will not let you play this thing at all."
But
It
so
took
your parents
some
were not really,
convincing.
they were not really into music, I understand.
Not at all. They're not yet today, even. They're like, they don't like what I do. But you know, what can you do? You have to follow your heart. And
Of
I had to
course.
follow my heart. Yeah.
And you really did, because you went to Amsterdam then probably to study, or you went to
Yes.
the States or to Amsterdam?
I went to Amsterdam. I studied here. I'm still here, by the way. And I went to the conservatory, and it was an amazing time. I met amazing teachers here. I got to know one of my biggest composition mentors here, Galina Fracheva. She's a Bulgarian living in Germany. And yeah, she was a guest professor in our school, and we met at one of her master classes. And she kind of led me on to play that crazy combination that I do that has trombone and piano at the same time. So that's thanks to her. I found that combination that became unique to me, and I'm thankful for that. Yeah,
That is so
to be able to
important
do that.
because, I mean, to be special, I mean, in this art world and to stick out, have something on your own. But you also have written a lot of songs. I mean, uh, in different languages, actually. You sing in English, then you sing in Hebrew, you sing in Ladino, and Ladino we will come to later. But I just wanted to
Mhm.
say that probably you started to sing in English, or what? I mean, or Hebrew, of course, but later in Amsterdam to sing and write in English.
Yes, I started writing in Hebrew, but I felt that my Hebrew lyrics were not very communicative. They were like I wrote a lot of poetry in high school, and around the age of 16, I started to write in English as well. And I found that it was easier for me to put simple ideas into words in English than it was in Hebrew, because in Hebrew I was tending to complicate everything. because I was a fan of this high language. And in English, because I had limitations, it actually drew me to a good place in my songwriting because I was able to convey simple ideas in simple sentences. So I just continued to write in English along writing in Hebrew. And when I came to Amsterdam, I already had an EP that I've released of English songs, and
Yeah.
continued writing here, of course, in English. And then I released 2 English albums after that. So
Yes,
yeah,
because you
so
have
the scope.
many albums on in English, and we will play some of it. And well, very impressive. And it's your music, it's your text, and then you play, and then you sing, and really enjoyable. But then you like 6 or 7 years ago, uh, you embarked on this idea to work with your own ethnic background, the Ladino songs, which are so unique, and so few people really know how to sing those songs, which you do beautifully. So tell us how you got to this Ladino, and tell us a little bit about Ladino. Not everybody knows what Ladino is, and mhm.
Um, it was a destined moment for me because I was invited to play in Morocco in the Tangier Jazz Festival, and I was playing my own songs in English and in Hebrew, and it because it's my grandparents' birthplace. I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to visit their towns, their hometowns. So I went to Fez, the city where my grandmother grew up in, and on the street, I heard some people sing a lullaby that she sang to me when I was a kid. And they sang it in Arabic, but the melody was the same. It was the same Ladino song. And it gave me like this flashback moment, you know? I was not prepared to meet myself on that level on, you know, the narrow street of the Medina in Fez. I was not prepared. And when it came up, I think it just evoked this genuine little spot that I forgot about. You know, my grandmother passed away when I was 12 years old, and I didn't do anything with her music for 20 years. And then all of a sudden, it was there
But
in
now
front of
you
me, and I
and
had to do something. Hi, everybody. I'm Nani, and I'm a singer songwriter. Today, I'm going to sing a few songs in Ladino for you. It's the ancient Sephardic language of the Sephardic Jews from the Iberian Peninsula in the Middle Ages. And my grandmother used to speak that language, and she sang songs in Ladino to me when I was a child. And I'm going to start with a song that I wrote myself, and this is called No Quiero Madre. It means mother I don't want. It's a mother and daughter dialogue, and in this song, the mother suggests her daughter all kinds of groom who she wants to marry off quite quickly, and the daughter refuses them all. So she is suggesting a tall guy, a jealous guy, a rich guy, and the daughter refuses them all. At the end of the song, the mother loses hope and tells her daughter, well, you might as well marry the drunk. And the daughter replies with, actually, I'm already in love with a drunk. I am hugging him as we speak. So this is No Quiero Madre, which means no mother I don't want. Hija mía, te voy a veres buenos, darle el alto, gente, pero darle el alto. No quiero madre, no quiero que les alto. Yo no la alcanzo, gente, pero no quiero madre, no quiero. Hija mía, te voy a dar al bachico. Por favor, te rogo, toma el bachico. No quiero madre, no quiero que les bajo. Yo no la alcanzo, gente, pero no quiero madre, no quiero. A lo hecho no hay remedio, a lo hecho no hay remedio. hija mía, te voy a dar allting yo oso. Antes que te cases, mira lo te haces, dar allting yo oso. No quiero madre, no quiero que el niño oso. Dale camino, no hay reposo. No quiero madre, no quiero. A lo hecho no hay remedio. A lo hecho no hay remedio. Y a lo por hacer consejo. Hey, hija mía, te voy a dar al borracho. No entiendo las babagadas, dar al borracho. Yo quiero madre, yo quiero con el borracho. Yo abrazo axibashi, yo quiero madre, yo quiero. Yo abrazo axibashi, yo quiero madre, yo quiero. Yo quiero madre, yo quiero. Yo quiero madre, yo quiero.
And because of that, you have received so many awards. I mean, very impressive. And it's probably in connection with the Ladino songs, I guess. And it's very valuable what
Some
you are
of them.
doing. Some of them.
Some of them, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
it is always an honor to be acknowledged by your peers. But for me, it matters the most that I win the hearts of the people in the venue. I love performing, yeah. And I love meet and greets. I love the meetings after the shows, talking to people and hearing their stories. Many times I write songs about these stories because they inspire me, especially when you go out of your comfort zone. You know, music is a very lonely profession. You sit at home, you make something that you think is great, but you have no feedback. But only on tour, it comes alive. And then you get feedback from your audience and they feed back into your music. And I remember when in 2010, I won this competition here in the Netherlands. It's called Mooie Noten. And they called me from the radio to ask me. And I remember that question very well. How did it feel like to hold the trophy in your hand? Like, what do you mean? I don't mind so much about the trophy. It's fine. But like I just performed for the first time in my life. Before that, I didn't have such a big concert. I performed for the first time in my life in an open air theater in front of 2,000 people. This was for me the winning moment, not the trophy. And yeah. And
you are also in a country where you in the Netherlands, you have a chance really to work because it's a fantastic country to tour, and they appreciate your
actually,
level.
I mean, it depends. I mean, there is a certain community of loyal fans and professionals that definitely follows my music, but most of my concerts are actually abroad. I don't have like a country that I tour mainly in. So I have each year maybe 100 concerts and then 5 in each country. You know, it's not, I don't have
And
a main country that I operate
You've been to Donnerschlangs in Lower Silesia because you once
Yes.
performed outside of Wrocław in a castle, right?
Yeah, there were a few tours with Krzysztof that you know. He arranged a few tours for me in Poland, and we went, I think, 6 times or 7 times, touring all over the country. And Silesia is a great place. I love going there. I love the food. I love the people. And
when was it you were in the synagogue? Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Maybe 3 years ago.
2018. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Summer
exactly.
2018. And I was very surprised that it was sold out because it was my first concert in Wrocław. I never played in Wrocław before. And you guys
Uh-huh.
did an amazing job on promotion and getting people involved. So well done. Thank you so much for doing that.
And it's so fantastic that people really enjoy, the Ladino and the Yiddish. You asked me where I am.
Yeah.
I am actually in our basement in the synagogue, and the books behind me are Yiddish books. So, Yiddish and Ladino will always be important for our foundation, and the work you
Yeah.
do with renewing it, because you also reach to younger people. They also enjoy
Yes.
your music, I understand.
I was
Yeah.
surprised to see that young audiences are getting connected, but I think it's also related to the fact that I write new songs in Ladino, and then
Hmm.
the subjects, the topics that I deal with are modern topics. So I have songs about mother-daughter relationships, online bullying, gender balance. I even have one song. Well, it's actually to a very old text from the 11th century by Shmuel Anagid, and we
Hmm.
recently discovered that he was gay. So he had a whole book of poetry that he wrote for his lover. And I composed one of these poems. And now, the Jewish community is flabbergasted. They're like, no, that cannot be. But in
Oh,
reality, it is. It is what it is. So the young people are attracted to these topics because I see in my generation and also a generation younger, like 10 years younger than me, that they're very interested in their roots. And if you look at
I can
my
see that you do
audience,
the Quando El Re Nimrod, the song,
yes,
you do it in different ways. Once you do very rhythmic and you're in the bazaar, and the other one you do with an instrument. Can you tell me about that instrument? It's not an oud, it's another instrument. That
arch
you, what is it? Oh,
It's it's called an arch lute. It's a
oh
baroque instrument. So it's from that period when Sephardic music was alive and kicking. So it was
yeah,
very
right.
typical to that time.
And you're doing it together with a musician from Israel.
Yes, we
But
actually studied together in the
ah,
conservatory. Yeah, we know
but
each other
so
since we were 7 or 8 years old.
okay, because it's interesting that young people also like those original instruments that they start playing
Yeah,
on them.
yeah. There is a
It's popular.
renaissance now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it also draws a younger audience, not the people interested in old music.
Yes.
Mm,
If you look at the audience at my shows, so you can see a lot of white hairs, but also a lot of 18, 20-year-old kids. So there is not a lot of middle. I don't apparently don't appeal to a lot of 35, 40-year olds, but it's either like 18 to 25 and then 55 and up.
ah, that's nice.
Yeah, which
Ah,
is nice because then they meet each other, and then they get to talk and they
absolutely,
exchange stories.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and so how are you managing now in this pandemic? We are just waiting for live concerts. I saw that you had a video out that is when we meet after the corona.
Yes.
Is it in Hebrew?
Yes, in with
Yes,
Ellie Gorenstein, the actor from
yes,
the Comedy Theater.
yes. It's
Yeah, we
wonderful.
he's such a great guy. We worked together on the show. It's a musical. The producers from Mel Brooks. So we
Hmm.
both worked on that show in the Comedy. I don't know, 15 years ago, and we only kept in touch on Facebook. And so 15 years later, when Corona broke, we wrote each other messages. What can we do? Because at the beginning, it was a shock for the art world. We
Yeah,
didn't know what to do. I was 400 days on the road before Corona, and now I'm
yes.
400 days at home since
Mm.
the Corona started, which is
Mm.
insane for me. So the first month, I just didn't know what to do, and then slowly started collaborating with people online. I also created a podcast where I interview people from the music industry giving advice for young musicians. I recorded an online course. I am now mixing a new album of original Latinos. So I do a lot of things. I cannot stand still, really. And this week we also shot 2 new music videos that will
Oh,
come out soon.
oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And you also wrote music and sing to this poetry, this Hebrew poem. It's a beautiful video where you show the text on it.
This is a poem by Rachel, the Blumstein. She's a poet from the 1930s. And so the Hebrew is about, well, let's say she calls her a sister. So she's talking to an invisible sister and about her ancient grace and her fire and all the contrasts that are happening. And in my eyes, she's actually talking about Israel, because she just made Aliyah when she came to Israel in the 30s, the end of the 20s. And it seems to me that she's looking at the near land, amazed by her ancient grace, but she calls her my sister. And then I have this friend, Sophie Tzedaka. She's a Samaritan singer, also living in Israel. And she always had a thing for that specific song. So she suggested that we will cover it. And she is very much connected to biblical tradition. And for me, I'm secular, so I'm not a big believer in religion, but I did connect to the sisterhood aspect of that song. So I suggested, why don't we emphasize cultural sheroes from Israeli culture, and then put them on a pedestal instead of looking at ourselves from the micro to the macro. And so we depict 12 different sheroes from the last 2,000 years, starting from Miriam the prophet and then ending with Rachel Blumstein herself. And we just showcase them and ourselves. So each of these women gets like 20 seconds within the song, and then there's a beautiful drawing, and then together with the lyrics, it's
So it's
and
a
it was
mixture of
done especially
taking
for
different
international.
artists.
No, we recorded it ourselves, but
Mm-hmm.
we did an animation video that depicts the figures of these 12 characters. Most of them are
Yeah,
already dead. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, actually,
Mm-hmm.
all of them are dead. All of them passed away. So yeah, so they couldn't take part, but they were in the video in their spirit. And we done that for International Women's Day. So it was to empower young girls to see that they are examples for them to aspire to.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
yes, I mean, it's interesting because in each language, you become one more person, because the
Yes.
language brings so much to the music. So
True.
yes, it's very nice, and you're so versatile, and it's such a joy. So I really wish you good luck with all the work you are doing, this wonderful work, and with all your
Thank
beautiful
you.
music. And maybe we
Thank
will
you so
soon
much.
hear you again in the White Stork Synagogue. I hope so.
I really hope
You
so. I really hope
know?
so. I miss music and I miss traveling. And
Yes.
well, we're working
Well,
on a new album that will be released soon. So if people want to
oh,
check this out, they can go to the website, nanimusic.com,
wonderful.
and find out more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good luck, Noam, and thank you very much for
Thank you, Bente, for having me. It's
being with
nice to
us.
talk to you.
Yeah. לשנה הבאה בוורצלביה. Next
Exactly.
year in Wrocław.
בשנה הבאה. בשנה הבאה בוורצלביה. And I'm going to continue with a traditional song that my grandmother used to sing to me when I was a little girl. And one of my first memories together with her is that I was 4 years old. I was lying in bed. I was sick. I had a high fever. And she was singing the song to me as if it was a lullaby to help me fall asleep. Of course, it didn't help me fall asleep because already as a little kid, I was super interested in music. So I just asked her to sing it again and again. But this one is actually a lullaby. It is called Durme Durme, which means sleep, sleep. And a mother is singing to her newborn child. Sleep, my dear boy, close your beautiful eyes. Tonight you will sleep in the crib. Tomorrow you will go to school. And a day later, you'll meet a beautiful wife and have children of your own. Durme, durme. Sleep, sleep. Durme, durme, querido hijico, durme, durme, sin ansia ni dolor. Será tus lujos ojitos, durme, durme con sabor. Durme, durme, querido hijico, durme, durme, sin ansia ni dolor. Será tus lujos ojitos, durme, durme con sabor. De la cuna salirás y la escuela entrarás, y tú allí, querido hijico, a medarte empezarás, y tú allí, mi querido hijico, a medarte empezarás. Durme, durme, querido hijico, durme, durme, sin ansia ni dolor. Cierra tus lujos ojitos, durme, durme con sabor. De la escuela salirás, novia hermosa tomarás, y tú allí, mi querido hijico, criaturas dirás, y tú allí, mi querido hijico, criaturas dirás. Ya la 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 ya la la ya ya la la ya la da 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 di di ay. Durme, durme, querido hijico, durme, durme, sin ansia ni dolor. Cierra tus lujos ojitos, durme, durme con sabor. Durme, durme, querido hijico, durme, durme, sin ansia ni dolor. Cierra tus lujos ojitos, durme, 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 durme. Durme,